Hello, welcome to Rough Cut Film Review. This is a review of the 2012 remake Red Dawn. It's a remake of the unintentionally hilarious 1980s Red Dawn, which starred a youngish Patrick Swayze as one of the Wolverines, who were the high school American football team for this, generic American high school, apple pie, that kind of thing. But oh no, Cubans and Russians inexplicably and somehow are invading America. So it's up to the Wolverines to form an insurgency group. And if I remember, they had lots of bows and arrows. And to fight off the Cubans with some Russians in there to give it a bit of credibility, but not anywhere near enough. The film was parodied a lot. For example, South Park. Do you remember the line? I think Randy does it in South Park. "Avenge me, son. Avenge me." Well, that's taken from the 1980s Red Dawn, a film that was average at best. At absolute best, it was average. And to be honest, is just ripe for parody, but for some reason we've got a remake, and I don't understand at all how they expect to make their money back on this remake, let alone turn a profit. So let's talk about the remake. Well, the intro sees us, we've got one of those sort of montages of fake news reports with some rather lazily sort of edited, Hillary Clinton and things she'd said about North Korea. From what we get, it's all, it doesn't bother to even connect the dots. It just goes, oh, look, here's some problems around the world, and probably that's what's caused this, maybe. So we've got things about the Euro crisis and Greece. We've got things about hackers, because of course we're all worried about hackers. And there's a new leader in North Korea, which there is, but this is a different one. And they make no effort really to explain and fill in the dots. You've just got to sort of go, all right, well, there's some stuff. How North Korea would ever dream of invading the US, let alone be able to do it. They can't even feed their army, but apparently they can transport them to the other side of the world. The film covers itself incredibly feebly by throwing in, at some point he goes, oh, look, there's a Russian, he's special forces, and oh, the Russians must be involved. Well, the Russians couldn't afford to do it either, so there we are. Why the Russians are helping them, they don't bother explaining that. How they've helped them, they don't explain that. Anyway, so here we are at the start. It's just another day in America land. American flags are flying, it's all lovely. But oh no, look, there's paratroopers in the sky and something bad's going on. No one stops and thinks, who are those people who are para-dropping in their thousands on our little town? Anyway, we've got two brothers. One is Chris Hemsworth, who is, a fairly decent actor. He's a US Marine or something similar. He's been in the armed services. He's been to Iraq, we're told, repeatedly. He has a dark-haired brother who looks absolutely nothing like him and is quite irritating and is not a good actor. He's in high school. The two of them lead a bunch of 20-somethings who are far too attractive and are far too clean, but they are pretending... Oh, and they're girlfriends, and they're very attractive girlfriends, but they're pretending to be high school students, and they form an insurgency, again called the Wolverines, after the very exciting American football team that lost a match at the beginning, just to make it believable. Chris Hemsworth's unexplained military training comes in very handy, so we get a montage of these handsome high school students and their attractive girlfriends. They're hot, they're not just attractive, they're hot. They get military training, they learn how to throw someone on the ground. They happen upon some C4 that was just sort of lying around, so they've got some C4, they've got military training, and suddenly they are an insurgency force. Although toward the end they ditch any pretense of that and they just mow down the stupid North Koreans, as some sort of blitzkrieg advanced army. But anyway, there we go. The time frame of all these events is really foggy as well, actually. So the North Koreans seem to suddenly appear, and then straight away they seem to have control over everything. They've got checkpoints, they've got a network of collaborators and people who are under the thumb, including the town's mayor, who's very insipid. So it is really, everyone is towing the line and collaborating, except for the Wolverines, and they're really tough and cool. There was a video game that came out a few years ago called Homefront, which was a Call of Duty style shooter, where Call of Duty is actually referenced in the film, where the North Koreans invade America, and I remember thinking how incredibly stupid that was. Well, this is basically the film of that game in all but name. Apparently, and the explanation for something so ridiculous is that apparently when the film was actually shot and filmed and made, it was the Chinese were the baddie invaders. However, some bright spark at the film company went, oh, hang on a second, there's a lot of money to be had in China, and we have got no morals or dignity or we're not concerned about anything other than making money. So they went in and digitally changed everything to be North Korea and not China. Completely ridiculous. So we then get, throughout the film, we get those good old-fashioned horrible cliches about, a Marine and his rifle are the deadliest weapon, hoorah, all that stuff. We then get people yelling, Wolverines! And with me just sort of cowering behind a sofa cushion because, well, figuratively, because I am embarrassed for the actors who were involved. You've made a difference. Hell, you are the difference. These are the lines of the film, unfortunately. It's directed by a novice director called Dan Bradley, who was a stuntman for a long time. Then he became a second unit director, and now he's a fully fledged director, and he does a perfectly fine job, in all honesty, and I think he'll go on to better things. He's got a limited budget here, but he's got a couple of nice shots, shows a bit of flair, given just how thudding and stupid this concept is. It's all weighed down by the stupidity and heavy legs of the ridiculous concept. Why bring this back? No one wants this. What's the appeal? And I don't understand how they think they're going to get the money back, let alone make a profit. Chris Hemsworth is fine, the director's fine, but everything else is ordinary at absolute best, and it makes no sense whatsoever. Another thing that really bugged me was there was a line in it which was, for them it's just some place, but for us it's home. Now, bear in mind that the lead actor character, Chris Hemsworth, the all-action superhero, he was an American soldier who was in Iraq, right? Now, America has conducted in real life a couple of real invasions of other countries and has occupied them. So to turn that on its head and say the invaders are evil doesn't make any sense to me. In fact, they are shooting themselves in the foot really, really badly, and they're too stupid to realise that they're even doing it. And it's, to be honest, the film, for example, there's one key scene where the Wolverines launch a raid. There aren't even enough extras. Presumably they just ran out of uniforms or something. There aren't enough, people pretending to be North Korean soldiers. There aren't enough just people in the crowd kind of thing. And it's a very, very difficult film to say nice things about, to put it bluntly, except for the fact that Hemsworth and Bradley will go on to do better things. Avenge me! Kind regards, Christopher Thomas.